Hey, welcome back to the SC-100 course exam prep. My name is Kieran Tross. I want to thank you for clicking and continuing watching this video. Hopefully you have been watching from the very beginning, but if you are here just for this video, then I welcome you as well. In this video, we're going to be talking about Azure policies and then also how you can utilize them to implement Zero Trust. So just to kind of do a recap, Zero Trust is based on three core principles. That is verify explicitly, use least privilege access, and assume breach. So verify explicitly, you can utilize that doing things like conditional access policies, which we haven't even gotten into as of yet. Then there's use least privilege. This is how we're going to use Azure policies for using least privilege. And then assuming breach is another construct of a Zero Trust. Okay, you may recognize this management group design I've added to the management group design. So let's take a look at this and how Azure policies can be utilized, right? In the next video, we are going to actually deploy our first Azure policy. In this one, I just want to have a overview of Azure policies and then also how they tie into management groups. As you continue to learn and grow within the Azure ecosystem, you will understand that a lot of the different services, even though they can be standalone, they all tend to have some type of relationship when you get into really doing the architectural design for your environment of these resources. So in this case, we're talking about Azure management groups. On the top left, you have your root management group, and everything that's in that orange color, peach color, is your management group. So you have MG Dev, we'd have MG Test, we have MG Prod, and then we have an MG Decommission because we want to stay compliant, and all our subscriptions that we are no longer in use will be moved over to our decommissioned area. Now below that you have your subscriptions. So you have a sub-dev2, test, and prod, and then a little bit below that on the prod you have a resource group. Now, what I mentioned in the previous video was that your Azure policies can be applied into the three different areas, your scopes. So you can apply at the management group level. So if you were to apply that the Azure policy on the top, it would go to the root level. You can apply an Azure policy there, and then that way you would have a proper governance. So what do I mean by that? If you need to have a policy in your environment to say, hey, we are only allowing resources to be deployed in these regions, you would apply it at the root level because you know no matter what, you can now make sure that when anybody goes to deploy something, they will be prevented based on that policy. Now, if we go a little bit further down where you have the second Azure policy, which is pointing to sub-test 1, that is an Azure policy that is specific to that subscription. Now, you can have a policy for a specific landing zone because you may say, okay, I need to now have more governance, or I need to allow something a little bit different over here. Now, also keep in mind, for the top level Azure policy, if you wanted to now say, okay, I want to make sure that all my environment adheres to this policy, but I do have developers testing things out, I can now have an exception in that policy. That exception will say, okay, all your management groups, this is going to affect except this management group, or you can say exception at the subscription level or even at the resource level. Then if you go down to sub prod 1, under there you have a resource group, and that's where you have an Azure policy applied to that specific resource group because you now are allowing or denying something, or you're making it a little bit more strict. So this is how you can utilize Azure policies to now apply Zero Trust within your environment. We're giving people the least amount of privilege. Doesn't only mean roles, but also what they can do from a resource perspective. So this is, a quick overview of the management group design. But one thing I want you to keep in mind is that it's very important how you design your management groups. If you do not design your management groups in the right way, you will not be able to have this granular approach that you're seeing on the screen. So that wraps up our Zero Trust with Azure policies. I want to thank you for watching this video. If you haven't done so already, please smash that like and subscribe button, please. Just so you know, this is a free course, so I would just ask if you can please like and subscribe. And even if you, I will post this on LinkedIn, so if you do happen to connect with me on LinkedIn, if you repost the course, I would appreciate that as well. So once again, my name is Kieran Tross, and I want to thank you for watching this video. Here at Cloud Scholars, my goal is to get you from scholar to consultant, and of course, consultant to expert. Thank you, and see you next time.